This morning I want to talk to you about something that I've been talking to a lot of caregivers that I'm interviewing about, and that is how much things cost for the client. Most every caregiver knows what they're worth, and they know that their worth has really gone up in this last 6 months or so, and we see gas prices going up, and oftentimes we're very focused on what we can make, but we don't really take into account what effect that is having on our client. And so I want to share with everybody today because, we try to be as transparent as possible and try to get you to make your best decision that you can. So I wanted to share this conversation because I'm almost every single time I do this with a caregiver, they're like, wow, how do people afford that? I'm like, well, that's the point. You really have to be aware of how much all this stuff costs. And unfortunately, we can't just wipe it all out and make it all free or make it a government program or anything like that. I mean, most people won't qualify for things like that. So what are the costs? Many caregivers will come in, especially now, and they'll give a rate of, say, $25 an hour, and then we're adding our fee on top of that. And it's very common for a client through our agency to be at $30 or $32 an hour, depending on the rate that the caregiver chooses. Well, let's just take a look at what care costs would be in your home if you were hiring somebody for $30 an hour. So that would be including our fee. And so, I encourage you to calculate some kind of very common shift rates. So at $30 an hour, if you work 4 hours a day, if somebody worked 4 hours a day, you're looking at $120 a day. If they worked 8 hours a day, of course, you're doubling that to $240 a day. Somebody is working 12 hours at that $30 mark, then you're at $360 a day. And if you're working 24 hours a day, you have people in there 24 hours a day at $30 an hour, then you're looking at $720 a day. So if you took, let's just go with the extreme example, 24-hour care, and this would be people working all the time, right, in your house. If it was $720 a day and you need it for every single day, then you'd be spending $21,600 a month. So the best thing that you can do as a caregiver is look at the situation and make adjustments to your rate, because most people can't afford $260,000 a year on care. And so if you can discount your rate, or you can create a rate that makes sense to both the client and the caregiver, then you're going to have a client for a lot longer. It's going to be a steadier job for you, and the client, of course, benefits from that as well. So what happens to the client? Let's get back in the client's head. Say you go 3 months at $21,000. Right? You've just spent $60,000 on something you really don't want to spend a lot of money on, because maybe it's keeping you in your home, but you're not driving around a Lamborghini because of it. So what does that mean to the client? Well, the client or the client's kids are starting to make decisions, right? They're gonna start saying, well, what if we put mom or dad into the best place, right? What if we find an assisted living place that is the best place? Well, what do the best places cost? Well, they cost about $9,000 to $10,000 a month, and you get all the bells and whistles. A beautiful place, very high end. Now, a lot of them are full, and maybe you're getting on a waiting list or things like that. And I help people with finding these places. So whether you're looking for the best of the best, whether you're looking for a good assisted living community, so maybe there's no memory care needed, or even if there is memory care needed, there are options there as well. But the communities, the assisted living communities, they offer a lot of things to a lot of people from a community standpoint, activity standpoint, and their own apartment, things like that. And then you've got independent living, which a lot of people don't know about. Independent living is really what it sounds like. It's an apartment, but it has some of the elements of assisted living in there but it doesn't have the care component, and it's not licensed as a care facility. So these are different options that I help people with. And of course, the most common thing to happen, which you probably don't want to hear about if you're in fact this person, is that family members are usually the caregivers that are providing the care. But it comes at a cost to the family member, right? It may come to the cost of the client themselves too, because family members aren't typically trained at the same level. But more importantly, family members have other obligations and are usually sacrificing money, time, energy, relationships in order to help their parent. And caregiver burnout is almost always seen in situations like this. And maybe there's one family member that's like, hey, I can do it all, and then there's another family member that's like, I'm trying. And then there's that last family member that's like, I can't do it anymore. I can't. So when those situations come up, give me a call and we can chat through the different scenarios out there, and I'm happy to help and go into a little more detail on all this cost stuff. Anyway, hope you guys are good, and we'll chat later.